Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I'm your host, Carolyn Orff, and today is November 29th, 2023, and I'm excited to say I did not need to look down at my paper to remember the date. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I had my daughter back home from college and some family in town, and guys, I gotta just say, I hit it out of the park once again with the turkey. I know turkey has a reputation for being dry, but I have figured it out and I'm so happy with myself because that is not an easy bird to cook. I would love to hear from you guys today in the comments. So if you're joining us live today, tell me that you're here, where you're from. Make sure you include your name because I don't always know. And let me know if you made a great turkey this year. But we have a great show in store for you guys. Just a couple of updates. I don't know if you guys saw the news, but this was one of the busiest seasons ever. One of the busiest travel days was Sunday, with over almost 3 million people hitting U.S. security in airports at the screening there. And on Sunday, when we took my daughter, I made sure that she went plenty early because Denver International Airport has been a mess these days with security. And sure enough, she shows up and there isn't a soul there. So she was quite early for her flight, but better early than late. So I hope that everyone got to their flights on time and there weren't too many issues over this holiday break. Anyways, I want to know what travel gear you bought on Black Friday and or Cyber Monday. So make sure that you're commenting in our chat or later on if you're listening to this after the fact in the comment sections. I want to know what you guys are buying this season to see if I can steal some of your ideas. But anyways, we have a very special guest with us today. As you guys know, at least once a month, we like to do an Expanding the Lens segment. And usually we have Amy Garner, who is our DE&I specialist or one of the members of the DE&I committee at KHM Travel Group. But this month, Amy called and said, Carolyn, I need you to meet this lady. And she's an amazing advocate for accessible travel, and we can learn a lot from her. So I believe Amy's right. And so please welcome Kristy Durso, founder of the Accessible Travel Network and national speaker on accessible travel. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and so glad your turkey turned out. Ours was not exactly as expected. We started it an hour too soon this year, but we still had a great time and everybody ate it anyway. So it worked.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so glad to have you. And people will probably say, look, she looks like she's in a hotel. You are at Beaches, Turks and Caicos this week.
Yes, I am. I am loving it here. This is one of my favorite resorts. In my opinion, Beaches and Sandals are the top resorts for all around accessibility. Some of the other resorts may do dietary a little better or may even have a few other things for wheelchair accessibility, but Sandals and Beaches really blows it out of the water with the all around aspect covering multiple disabilities.
So I wanted you to join us today because I think you have a really well-rounded perspective on what accessible travel looks like and should look like. So, we had a really great conversation the other day, and I know it's a great conversation when I think a lot about it after the fact. Right. I do a lot of these pre-shows calls and it might just be, okay, move on to the next thing. And I really stopped and just kind of had to really digest everything you said. So I'm hoping to share that same sort of conversation today with our listeners. But what do you feel like the industry does really, really well when it comes to accessible travel?
That is a great question. And if I'm completely honest, we don't do a whole lot really, really well with accessibility right now. We're getting better, and that's the most exciting part.
Right.
The last year and a half, destinations, hoteliers have really started putting in the effort to learn more about what they're doing wrong. So to me, the best part about accessibility and travel right now is the willingness to learn and the willingness to listen to those who have disabilities so that the whole profession can do better on it. The whole industry can do better.
So that leads us open to a lot of things that we can do a little bit better. And one of those things that we spoke a lot about the other day was an agent's need to really become more in tune with this segment of travel. So share with me a little bit your thoughts on how an agent can really work this into their business and why that's a benefit to them.
Oh, I'd love to. Before I really talk about how to work it into your business, the first thing I want to do is take a moment with the listeners. I want you guys to think about a couple of things here. I want to get you thinking about accessibility in a different way. And this is important because on the surface, so many people don't think that they need to know about accessibility. But listen, we're all connected to it. Everyone has somebody, a loved one that has some kind of disability. I'm going to read you a list of the different kinds of disabilities, and I want you all to think as you're hearing this list, go through your mind about who in your life has one of these disabilities. So, do you have somebody who has a mobility disability? This can be somebody who has trouble walking, uses a cane or a walker or another assistive device, or uses a wheelchair, or might even be an amputee. So that's the first one. Do you have anyone who's deaf or hard of hearing, blind or low vision, has an autoimmune disease or other chronic illness, has autism, Down syndrome, fetal alcohol syndrome, PTSD, anxiety disorder, claustrophobia? There are so many invisible disabilities out there, and they are all disabilities. They all need accommodations. Then also any other neurodivergencies that I didn't already mention, like ADHD, ADD, or similar, or a food allergy or special diet.
Yeah.
27% of the American adult population is diagnosed with a disability. That's a huge number. Everybody think about that number right there, 27%. That means that if you have an average family of 4, somebody in that family has a disability. 27%. Now, let me throw out a couple other numbers for you to think about, and the other reasons why it's so important for everybody to be considering this. I'm on the spectrum, so numbers are a thing for me. My family is full of disabilities. We're even a unicorn in this world. We've got everything. So, a study by Open Doors organization says that we spent $58.7 billion on accessible travel between 2019 and 2020. Let's say that number again, $58.7 billion. That's how much
A lot of money
as a community. Now think about how much of the pot of that are you getting? And only about 40% of us travel. There's a study done that said that 90% of people with autism do not travel. And it's because they don't think they'll be accommodated. The rest of the people who don't travel because they don't think they're going to be accommodated. It's not a lack of money. We are the most diverse minority group in the world. The most. And we're the most inclusive. You are welcome to join us at any time. And in fact, you probably will. At some point in your life, you will probably encounter either a temporary or permanent disability, or you may age into one later in life. That's reality. That's not me being a naysayer. I love my life. I live an amazing life. But everybody is going to face disability at some point in their life. And we need to know how to correctly accommodate that. It isn't enough to just book an accessible room. If you do that, you're going to end up with all kinds of problems. You have to know details on how to correctly book it. You need to know what accommodations they need. And so we teach how to ask the right questions, get the right information from both the client and the hotelier to make sure that you can do that. But there's a whole host of questions that need to be asked in order to do it correctly. Imagine this, if everybody who attended Cruise World or attends the KHM conference were to book $1 million and we still wouldn't be able to handle everybody. We wouldn't. It would be too much business for us all. Now, what would happen if we understood accessibility better? If we understood how to accommodate and where to send travelers with disabilities, and realized that Europe is not off limits. It's not. I know that's a shocker for a lot of people. Imagine how our businesses would grow.
Right.
Just imagine.
I have to say your comment about growing into that disability is really, really important because we have that population of clients, right? We watch them through their life.
Yeah.
And someone that you might not have to think about, oh, can I order that wheelchair for you? Even when you're doing site visits, I find myself looking how far are the rooms to the restaurants? How far is the lobby to certain places? Because that is important as your client base starts to grow and you start to see these multi-generational families. Those are things that you just kind of have to start putting into your bank of information. Oh my gosh, that's a great property. I just need to let you know that it's a distance from here to here and there is no shuttle. How do you feel about that?
Or even if there is a shuttle, that is problematic as well, because a wheelchair user, a full-time wheelchair user, most of them have a rigid frame chair. It doesn't fold up and fit on the shuttle with you.
Right.
So you're rolling while your family's on the shuttle, or your family's walking while you're rolling on that large property. So we really do have to take that into consideration. Are there ramps everywhere, or are there places that are inaccessible because of stairs?
Mm-hmm.
There are places where there's a ledge to get into the public restrooms, and it makes it so that the wheelchair user has to go all the way back to their room and use the restroom in their room only while they're on property. So you need a small enough property to do that, or you need to find one where all the bathrooms are fully accessible.
Right.
So, and then the wheelchair accessibility is not the only thing to think about. We also need to be considering for, especially our neurodivergent families, what do we need to consider for them? And asking them the question, where do you need your room? Do you need a quick escape? We're quick escape family. We don't really care about the outside noise. We can deal with that. We need something that we can get to quickly. So we want a convenient location so that we can get in and out as often as we need to with our youngest, who may have a meltdown at any moment. Whereas other families choose to have their rooms in the quietest location of the resort because that sensory overload is so much they can't handle it. So they want to have theirs all the way on the other end and may prefer a larger resort where they have that option to have that peace and quiet, and they know they're not going to be disturbed by the parties and all the activities at that resort. So
this could be a really challenging conversation if you do not have these challenges in your own family, right? It might be hard to know which questions to ask. Is there one question that you feel really works well so that someone might feel comfortable opening up and sharing really what's going to make the trip work for them?
I think it's more than a question. I think having an accessibility statement, having something that says, we want travel to be available for everyone. We feel that travel is beneficial for everyone. And we want your family to have the best possible experience while you're in location. So we would like to ask you some questions about accessibility. Does anyone in your family have a disability? And then list out some specifics. And I list them by mobility, and then I'll put in ambulatory, in parentheses, ambulatory slow walker. And this for me is a drop-down menu. Ambulatory slow walker uses a cane. Then I'll put in neurodivergency, and I'll list out different ones so they're thinking beyond just something super obvious. Autism is a very, very obvious one, but you also have so many others. People still need accommodations for ADHD, and they may not immediately be thinking about that. But I'm going to ask the question and explain to them why. They may say, oh, well, my son has ADHD. We don't need anything. They feel bad using that accommodation. So then I talk about equitable experiences and explain why it matters. They should be getting that same level of experience as everyone else. And we can do that when we provide an accommodation. So that's really the biggest thing, having that statement saying that you understand that everybody should be able to travel and you want to welcome the whole family and provide an equitable experience. So we'd like to list any disability. If you have a disability, please note it here, and then we can talk about what accommodations you need. So
It's
we don't
clear that
ask
this is
first
a
for
this is a
diagnosis.
yeah, it's clear that this is a huge topic. What are some of your favorite resources to go to that agents would have access to learn more?
Well, I'm going to toot my own horn here a little bit. I've created a group called the Accessible Travel Network. It's on Facebook, and we are going to be pursuing it as a nonprofit to make it an official organization for the travel industry. And I've spent about 2.5 years developing the most comprehensive training that's ever been done. And we'll be hosting a conference in December virtually. And then in May, we'll be partnering with Travelability to bring a conference to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So those are two easy ways. And Tourism Cares is picking up the training, and that course will launch everywhere. To get you started, however, some places that you can go to pick up some information now, Autism Double Checked is a great resource. I believe you all have a partnership with them.
Mm-hmm. We
So
do.
that's an excellent resource to start learning about autism. And it really covers other neurodivergencies as well. When you start learning about one, you kind of can bring the others into it. So it covers a much broader spectrum than just autism. IBCCES has a wonderful autism program as well, and they've partnered with Sandals, so you can get a discount on their program if you are using that Sandals discount, or Beaches discount rather. And so those are some great ones to learn about renting equipment. Special Needs Group has an Accessible Travel Advocate badge. Caution though, that it doesn't so much teach how to correctly book an accessible room or anything else. It gives you kind of just this very basic surface level introduction to talking about accessibility. You really, there's a lot more that you need to know in order to make sure you're appropriately booking people than just that. The other thing that we can share, Carnival has great information on their site. Walt Disney World has great information on their site. And then our partners at Universal do a really wonderful job teaching on accessibility, or not Universal, I'm sorry. Royal Caribbean do a really great job with getting information out there.
Yes.
And Will the World is another company to look at. And they're a great resource if you are looking for a resort and you want to know what specific accessibility they have. You can use their database and look at that. Because they list out all the things that we need to know, like bed heights and showers and all of that information. So that's very handy. But they also have an accessibility awareness course that is really great for professionals to take as well. And then the final one I would recommend is called AbleView. And that is kind of a Yelp for people with disabilities. Okay. It's a growing company. They're fairly new. But they go and they do destinations and teach destination, or they don't teach destinations. They showcase the destinations accessibility and list out everything that they have for people with disabilities, multiple disabilities. So.
Fantastic. Well, I can't thank you enough for your time and your knowledge. I just think it's amazing. You guys go to Facebook and look for Accessible Travel Network and have the most fabulous time at Turks and Caicos this week at Beaches.
I have to show you a win before I go. I showed it to you already. Let's show everybody. So I have been talking with Beaches and Sandals for years, and they've made little changes. If you look on Beaches website, you'll see, if you go to the booking portal, the TA portal, you can see there's a guaranteed accessible room category. So exciting. Just for Beaches, Turks and Caicos. We're going to hope to introduce that to all of the resorts, but we've got them doing it for Beaches, Turks and Caicos, and it's very successful. It's a very hard category to book. But their newest change, I'm so excited, is their bed heights. As a wheelchair user, bed heights are one of the most significant issues in hotel rooms, and it's not regulated by the ADA, so most get it wrong. But the beds used to be about 28 inches high as of last year, and now this year, they're now wheelchair height. I didn't measure it yet, but I think it's about 19 inches, which is the perfect transfer height for me. It means that I can just slide from my chair directly to the bed and I don't have any issues. So super exciting.
There's your win.
Yes. So exciting.
Well, I know there's a lot more work to do, but it sounds like little by little, and people are listening and actions being taken because of that. So I think that's a win.
Thank you so much. I'm excited about it. It really is just mind-blowing to see the world changing and to go, I did that.
Yeah,
That's
right?
my work.
I did
I
that.
can't
Yeah.
believe that they listened and they
Yes,
made this change.
yes.
Holland America put permanent lifts even in their spa pool, in their therapy pool, in the spa. And to me, that was such a big deal. Before they did it, I talked to them, we want to be able to enjoy all the amenities, and we want to be
Mhm.
able to enjoy it on our own time. It's really inconvenient to have to find the lift, have somebody bring it out, and then
Right.
use it, and we don't have access to the therapy pool and the spa, which is perfect for people with disabilities.
Right.
Now they've done that on the Koningsdam, and they're going to continue that work onto their other ships as well. So super, super exciting to see that kind of progress and to know that I played at least a small role in it. More than
That's
that, but
fantastic.
it's very exciting. So.
Wonderful. It was so wonderful to have you. I look forward to seeing you again in the future, hopefully at a live event. But thanks so much for joining us today. Go enjoy the rest of your trip.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Kristy. Oh, you guys, such wonderful work. It's so amazing to hear people that are putting their passion to a project and seeing how that is growing and making a difference in the world of travel and in families' lives, people's lives, so that they can get out there and do stuff. So, we have a very cool thing to show you guys today. The KHM marketing team traveled down to Jamaica a few months ago to do a little bit of marketing, take some pictures, take some video, do some interviews. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to join them because I had another trip planned during that time. But today we get the opportunity to see some of our team members interview the general manager, Deryk Meany, of the new Sandals Dunn's River Resort. So go ahead and take a look. This video will be posted on the channel as well after the show.
Hello and welcome to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. My name is Chantel Nye.
And I'm Bridget Gerber. We're from your supplier relations team.
And we are here with General Manager of Sandals Dunn's River, Deryk Meany.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to all the viewers. So nice to have me on.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining
have
us.
A beautiful resort.
We are so proud of the reimagined resort called Sandals Dunn's River.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh boy, could I? Where do I start? You know, it's quite interesting. Do you know that people wake up really early for different reasons? Some of them may go for a swim. Some of them may just want to see the sunrise on the Caribbean Sea. And what do we start off with? A cup of coffee from the Blue Mountain. Blue Mountain Coffee ranked #1 in the world. We have a bicycle bloom tricycle, we call it. And it goes up and down the beach every morning from 5:30 to 7:45. And they can get their personal cup of coffee for them on the beach. It is so amazing. If you're a late riser, just happened, and you seem to open your sliding doors at say around 8:30 in the morning.
I'm one of those late risers.
You are?
Yeah.
Well, we have something for you. You will hear a strolling musician, and it could be a saxophonist, it could be a violin player, it could be a steel pan, playing the classical sounds from the Caribbean right there on what we call our Love Bridge. So when you look over the beautiful water of the Caribbean Sea in those hues of green and blue, with that music playing live for you, nothing gets better. Now, if that doesn't work, we need to go back and start with the rum. It took us over 40 years. Can you imagine to figure out we needed a rum club? We'd made it happen. Welcome to Dunn's Rum Club. And this is an amazing spot. We have over 30 rums from the Caribbean. Don't try and drink all of them in one night, please. It's very important.
Pace yourself.
Pace yourself. The team in here creates a vibe and energy that has just become the spot to be every night. And we couple that with Jamaican delicacies in the cuisine, and we serve that in a tapa style. Have you ever had an oxtail slider?
Not yet.
I just had oxtail for the first time today.
Where you have to have a slider next?
That was amazing.
It's a best. And a jerk chicken cigar?
What?
How about an escovitch smoked marlin on top of bami? These are the delicacies served right in here at the Dunn's Rum Club.
I have a question for you. What's your favorite rum here?
Ooh, Appleton, of course. You know, I'm a Jamaican guy at heart, anything. And the age, the better.
Nice.
And the rums, and they're very good. But you know what happens after you drink rum?
What?
You tend to wake up in the morning with
Headache.
a hangover. So we fixed that. We have the only one of its kind. And these are some of the things that separate. The Dunn's Rum Club is the only one in the family. And we have a Bloom restaurant. Only one of its kind in the family. Each cup of coffee is made singly for the client. So when you go inside there, you have a choice of, say, 12 to 14 types of coffee. Each of them can be made chilled as well, but they're each made singly. So you go in there. I don't drink coffee or tea, by the way. But when I walk in there, I go, OMG, it is amazing. And that has become a huge favorite with our clients and so forth.
We do have to say, we did try.
You did have one.
Yes,
We did.
it was
Which one did you
very-
have?
I don't know what they made.
It was just iced coffee.
Yeah, an iced
It was an iced coffee.
Iced coffee.
Yeah.
Do you know that those coffee beans are bought in specially fresh daily with us?
Yes, they did. tell us
It
that.
is simply amazing and what happens there. Now, if those don't get you, let's switch over to another side. We have the first ever Greek restaurant right on the water's edge. Simply amazing. From ceiling to floor, glass walls. When you wake up, and it also serves breakfast, so it's not just a dinner. It serves breakfast. I don't know how we managed to pull this one off. We actually put the national dish of Jamaica inside there for breakfast. The guests love it. But it is probably the most picturesque point that you can dine in on this resort. It's really amazing. And it's very unique. Coupled with that, we are the first resort to have in the family. We have chocolate from Jamaica. Liquor more chocolate, and it's put in all our rooms. And let me tell you, if you haven't tried it, you got to. That crispy plantain one, I can taste it right. I'm a weakness for chocolate. Not into the coffee, but give me the chocolate,
Same.
I'll go for it and so forth. But those are just some of the highlights of what we do a little bit different here that separates us from the rest of the properties that we have in the family.
Who do you think is the ideal client to come here?
Who wants
What type of person?
You know, we have a saying, let life flow.
Okay.
If you can touch into that anyway and you want the best of what has to offer, this is your resort.
And we were able to see a sky suite.
Lucky you. Ooh.
Yes.
Do you know what's on top of the Sky Suite?
What?
Ocarina Sky Bar. If you are here in the evening with your loved one, you want to sit on top of this rooftop and look down where the sun is setting. There's nothing more magical where the sounds of a piano is playing behind you as you have that special cocktail made from you. It is absolutely amazing.
Well,
I challenge you, find a loved one, run up there this evening and see what happens.
So, and these are the first sky suites in Jamaica.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct. The first ones that we have, and extremely popular with the clients. They love it. They love the little pool and so forth. They sit down, they look down on all the rest of them in the major pool, and they kind of do the royal wave to them and so forth. It's
Right.
very unique.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
have you swam in the pools here?
Should I confess? That could be a TMI, but yes. You know, it's part of the duty of the general manager. You have to go in and check on, you know, what's happening in the pools and so forth. And I've been called in, even before we open, I've called to go and look. But since we've opened, some of our guests, I have to show you something. And I've had to go put on a swim trunks, dive in, just to see one piece of hair out of place. I said, all right, no problem, I can fix that plane job for you. Definitely.
What about a favorite restaurant?
Ooh, that's a tough one. You know,
They all seem great.
they are amazing. You know, I love Dunn's Rum Club, and it goes back to the energy, the vibes. It's the closest one to Jamaica, what Jamaica has to offer. So you see the character of the people in the staff, you get the taste of the culinary delights, and let's face facts. From the pirate days, everybody loves a good rum, and so what better place to be? Dunn's Rum Club.
Right. Well, thank you so much for
No,
taking
thank
your
you.
time. We know you're very, very busy, but we are so excited to be here. This is an amazing property, and we can't thank you and your staff. They're so welcoming and so wonderful. So thank you so much for being here today.
Well, before I go, let me tell you about one secret that we have.
Yes,
Do you
please.
know that we have a rendezvous villa that we took off the rooftop and we made it flat? And when you walk up to this exclusive villa on the top, of course it comes with a butler. And when you go up there, you have your own tub, you have your own little bar, and you have a beautiful satellite to go and stare at the stars.
Wow.
Amazing. It is so. It's what we have done, and it helps to create bonding memories with whatever age group. If you've just got married or you're rekindling the friendship, the love, and so forth. but it's just another way to connect with your loved one up there. And it has been a great success story with everybody that has booked that category. That one is very difficult to get, and you may have to wait a little while.
Okay. Maybe a couple years.
Maybe not. Maybe I could squeeze you in next year. I think I see her opening next year. This year, rest of this year, I doubt you can get inside there.
It's just Chantal and I. We could share a room.
Again, I think we're booked until next year. It's that busy. It's become that popular with the clients.
bet.
The exclusivity and so forth that goes along with it, it's just simply amazing. Real amazing.
Beautiful.
And you know what we say? Who is the greatest reggae artist ever?
Bob Marley.
Bob Marley. And you know what one of his favorite songs were? I close all my speeches to my staff and to my guests, and I wish everybody this.
Okay.
And it's simply this: one love. Hurry and come home to Sandals, Dunn River.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
All right, you guys, welcome back. Sorry, that was a little bit of a weird transition there, but wow, well done marketing job. Thank you, Deryk Meany, for joining. Chantal and Bridget, they did a great job interviewing you, and the pictures were magnificent. Really, really fun interview, and I know they had a great time down there. There are more of those that will be releasing straight to YouTube over the next year or so. So thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Kristy, for joining us from Turks and Caicos. Thank you, Apple Leisure Group, for being our overall sponsor, and of course to all our other show sponsors. Next week, you guys, is my pre-birthday celebration. We are celebrating with Celebrity Cruise Lines, and we have some amazing agents that are joining us that have put themselves out there recently in the form of in-person events, travel nights, booths at shows, and we're going to sit down and talk to them about what's working, what they learned from those, and if they think it's worth your while. So I'll see you back here next week. Thanks, everyone, and happy selling.